Hello and welcome back to my series of pre-development videos exploring a wide variety of topics to prepare for my senior computer science capstone coming up in the fall. In the last video, we wound up learning compute shaders to build fractals, and ultimately our goal is to create grass, but for now we'll be deforming meshes. One of my favorite 3D modeling tools has been the bend modifier. One time I used 2, maybe it was 3, it's been a while, to create this ice cream cone for an art competition. That was a really long time ago though, when I used Autodesk Maya. Anyways, if you're building out your level and need mesh adjustments, you'll need to be going back and forth between Unity and your modeling program. And this back and forth, it gets pretty tedious and will hinder your creativity in the long run. So let's bring that feature into Unity. Since we need to manipulate every vertex of a mesh, this is a perfect candidate for compute shaders. Now, as the mathematics for this is going to use a lot of linear algebra, I'll be glossing over those details. And also, I'll skip over the compute shader basics since I covered that in the last episode. With bending, let's imagine we have a flat piece of paper sitting at the origin, no rotation. We've got an X and a Y axis. To bend that paper into a tube, we pick an axis to curve. We'll call this the bend axis. The other axis will actually stay unaffected during our bend. Now let's go from a flat 2D paper into a 3D box with a new axis. To get the tube shape where both ends meet to be flush, this axis is going to have to warp. If we're on the inside, notice that these vertices, they won't move as much, and if we're on the outside, we'll be stretching more. Now let's ramp up the problem's complexity even more. Our box, it could be at any arbitrary position and rotation. Since we know how to bend a box at the origin with no rotation, let's change our problem to just be at that location anyways. We'll build this transformation matrix. After we do our bend, we'll transform back to our original position and rotation through the inverse of that matrix. One of the big things I've learned in undergrad is that sometimes a difficult problem is best solved by a roundabout solution. We'll pass these two matrices to our compute shader. Now I have left out how we actually do the bend. That's because we're using another matrix. Here's what that looks like in compute shader code. Sometimes we may need our bend to stop at a certain point, such as with corner pipes. So we'll define an upper and a lower distance limit. If we're past a limit, the effects of the bend should continue off from the limit's bend. And with that, we have our bend modifier. I would love to add scene controls to hide away as much of the inspector as possible. That would likely be a lot of work, so I think it would be best to make a stockpile of editor-related tasks and then do them all in one single burst. I whipped up this mushroom mesh to actually test our bend modifier. Since a giant rectangle, it isn't that interesting. I like the way this turned out. Now, one final footgun to mention. When using a compute shader, the buffer we declare is specific to only one task. So if we want a second mushroom, we need to declare a unique instance of our compute shader. Otherwise, we might get glitchy behavior, such as both mushrooms occupying the exact same location. And this took me way too long to figure out. To be honest, I'm not sure what qualifies as too many compute shader instances, and I would like to play it safe. After all, these are already a nightmare to debug. I'm going to call it here for our bend modifier. This is a rather short video as I actually picked back up my freelance work, which I can't show at the moment, but also I'm preparing for my last undergrad math course, Analysis, which is a really rigorous math course, and I would rather that not consume all of my time over the semester, so I'm getting a bit of a head start on it. And those two things, they're going pretty well. I've also got a third thing, which is an assistant position for a multivariable calculus class. I'm like helping out the students along with the teacher, and I haven't really started that one, so see how that one goes. I still got time to prepare for that one. But that's enough about me. In the next video, we're going to be talking about grass. Until then, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next one.